Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Wednesday, the 27th day of May 2020. I hope and trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful evening. Again, those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, whether you're a cyclist, if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Bear in mind that because there may be less traffic on the roads of the Cayman Islands, does that mean that you have to be any less attentive, any less careful, or that you can ignore the rules of the road as well. So you always want to remember that the life that you save may simply be your own. As more businesses start to open up and operate in the Cayman Islands, I think we're seeing less persons exercising on the roads as well. And we just hope and trust that people will continue to exercise, find some way to juggle their schedule, do it in the evenings if you have to leave early in the mornings, but you want to continue to try to stay as healthy as possible. Don't let pandemic crisis force you into exercise and then you let up afterwards. You don't want to lose all of the advantages and the gains that you have made during that period. You don't want to lose them now by simply being less active again. So we want to encourage you, continue to walk, continue to cycle, continue to jog. We also hope and trust that with the next stages that we go through to open up the economy and to allow people more access to various activities, that one of the things that the government will look at is the restriction of 2 hours for exercise. While we understand why that is being done, because you want to reduce the number of persons in circulation, I believe that based on where we are now, the gains that we have made, that there are certain restrictions that are on there that can be relaxed, because at some point in time, people are going to get a little bit antsy. They're going to get a little bit anxious, and it is therefore necessary for the government to look at those areas where it is safe to do so. I think if we can go from 1.5 hours of exercise to 2 hours, if this is being done mainly to assist the authorities, Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, Customs and Border Control, and everyone else in terms of their ability to do their job, fine. But I think we can fine-tune it a little bit more. There are people who are planning on, who are training or want to train for certain activities, either internationally or locally, and they need more than 2 hours in terms of their ability to exercise as well. So we hope and we trust that the government will look at that area. Of course, like I said, we want to ensure that whatever is done, it is done in a safe manner. But I think at the end of the day, you want to be able to justify any restriction that you continue to keep in place as well. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday. And again, those of you who have lost loved ones, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you, and we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, the phone lines are always open. There is always that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. If you don't like to talk on the telephone, you can email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261, where you can leave us a text message or send us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. We will have MLA, Mr. Kenneth Bryan, in the studio with us this morning. He will be here. Meanwhile, I will share with you an update on the testing for COVID-19 in the Cayman Islands. This was a release dated Tuesday the 26th of May 2020. Chief Medical Officer Dr. John Lee reported a further 414 COVID-19 tests, which were completed over the past 24 hours. That's as of yesterday. Through the screening program, there were reported 3 positive test results, which likely represent cases that were community acquired. Contact tracing has also begun for these. And as a reminder, the last COVID-19 test presenting for clinical management was on the 27th of April of this year. All of the positive cases reported since then have been discovered through their wider screening program. One of these has some symptoms, but this person has not needed hospital care, and the symptoms do not seem to be COVID-19 related. And he also reminded us that the Health Services Authority's PCR laboratory will be having a scheduled maintenance day later this week. They haven't specified what day that will be, and I won't even wish to speculate in terms of what day that will be. There's several important media advisories that have been sent out, and I'll share those with you as well. This one is extremely important. Employers urged to notify WORC, work, of canceled work permits. Okay, and it reads, Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman, WORC, would like to remind employers of their legal obligation to notify the department of the ending of employment of any of their employees. So there is a legal requirement to obligation to notify the department whenever an employment ends. Goes on to read that under Section 9 of the Immigration Regulations, failure to notify the department of cessation of employment is an offense, and offenders are liable on conviction to a fine of $5,000. During this time, while we deal with the challenges posed by COVID-19 to the Cayman Islands, we understand that things are not necessarily business as normal for many employers. However, we remain committed to serving you and keeping you informed as we aim to promote continued compliance with local immigration legislation. The release goes on to read. We also want to take the opportunity to remind employers of their legal obligation to ensure all employees' work permits are current and are up to date. Employees on work permits are not allowed to engage in any duties for any other employer or outside the approved occupation without approval from Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman. Failing to comply with this can also result in prosecution. A special thanks to those employers who have already taken the necessary steps to comply with this requirement. We strongly encourage other employers to follow suit to avoid potential prosecution. Work permit cancellations should be submitted to wpccancellations@gov.ky. So if you want to cancel a work permit, you can submit it by sending it to wpcancellations@gov.ky. wpcancellations@gov.ky. To report any immigration-related complaints or concerns, you can email worcomplaints@gov.ky. So if you want to report any related complaints or concerns, or maybe any breach as well, you email worcomplaints@gov.ky as well. So it is extremely important for you to do that. What I want to comment on this, or to put out a question in relation to the cancellation of work permits. What is there a requirement if the person decides to leave the jurisdiction, but the employer does not want to cancel the work permit because there is an intention for that person to return? Similar to if the person is going on vacation, the person may be going on vacation for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you wouldn't cancel a work permit and apply for one when they're returning. If they're leaving now because of the COVID-19 situation, but there is an intention to return. So what does cessation of a work permit what does cessation of employment means? If it is an interruption and the person intends to resume their employment, is there a legal requirement then for the employer to cancel the work permit, or the employer can hold on to the work permit? What I don't believe that the employer can do is make an application to replace that individual while they're in turn still holding on to that work permit as well. But it would be interesting to get some clarity on those issues as well. I'm sure that there questions will be raised in that regard, because I'm sure that there will be some scenarios where employers will want to hold on to the work permit of that employee who has left, but has left temporarily, and then trying to avoid the rigors of having to submit a new application holding on to that work permit without canceling it as well. What else do I have that we can share with you? We were hoping to have the dashboard up in relation to where we are currently as far as the COVID-19 situation is concerned, not only with testing, but also with the number of infections that we have, those recovers as well. So we have 137 reported cases, confirmed cases through testing. We have 63 of those who have recovered so far, and those are still good figures. What I find amazing, we see the numbers in Jamaica with a population of over 3 million people. We see the numbers for Guyana, even though Guyana has a much smaller population. But when you compare those numbers to the Cayman Islands with a population of around 60,000, the numbers just don't seem to correlate at all. And one may wonder why. Is there underreporting, or is it because of the lack of testing? I would hope and trust that it is because of the lack of testing. Because when countries do decide to open up their borders, they want to and allow people to travel, especially coming in. They want to ensure that those persons are coming from jurisdictions that basically have the COVID-19 under control. If you're under-reporting your cases, including the number of deaths, if you're under-reporting the number of tests being performed, or if those tests are simply not being performed to the level that needs to be performed at, then countries who would be considering allowing nationals from those countries to enter their jurisdictions would have to really, really look very carefully at that. And we see it throughout the Caribbean. If political leaders believe that by doing this, it makes them look more efficient, it makes them look more successful in combating this, and it comes back to bite them later on when the numbers start to really, really increase and the virus starts to flare up throughout those countries, they're going to be in serious, serious problems. So they shouldn't look for short-term glory and end up with long-term pain later on. And I don't know if others have noticed it, but the numbers that are coming from a lot of these jurisdictions, they are amazing. And the majority of them do not have anything near what many jurisdictions have in terms of physical distancing, the mandatory wearing of face masks, the control in terms of public places, beaches, all of those things. A lot of them do not have them in place, but yet their numbers are low. Why is that? So when we here in the Cayman Islands decide that we are going to open our borders, I am sure that the authorities here, one of the things that they will be looking closely at will be those countries that these individuals are coming from. What are the standards that they have in their countries? Of course, we have seen the government of the Cayman Islands. They have already announced that anyone returning at this point in time will have to be in quarantine for 14 days at their own expense. That includes any dependents who will be accompanying those work permit holders as well. That will include them. So, yes, we will have a backstop ready to cover those situations. But at the same time, if people are going to be required to quarantine at a government facility, there is a limitation in terms of the number of rooms that are available unless the private sector is prepared to rent additional space, hotel space in particular, to the government for this purpose. So there could be some limitation in terms of space as well. But there will be challenges going forward, and we're constantly, I shouldn't say constantly, but we're hearing people now questioning what are the government's plans moving forward to open up the economy of the Cayman Islands. And there are those who say that they don't see any plans, they don't know what the plans are. I believe that there are some plans that the government has, but nothing can be cast in stone because the full nature of this virus, how it operates, is still not known. And what we have, the benefit that we have in the Cayman Islands is that we have the ability to look at what other jurisdictions have done, what they're doing, what is successful, what isn't successful, and take our cues, from there. While at the same time, we have to look at our particular situation and craft or protocols or policies around the local situation that we have here in the Cayman Islands, as well. There were some other notices that we have, but we still have about 5 minutes left to go, so I can certainly say good morning to Mr. Kenneth Bryan and have him say a few words before we go to our 8 o'clock news. Mr. Bryan, good morning, sir. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. Good morning to your listening audience in the internet world as well as the radio land. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. I have a bookload of things that I would like to talk about today, so I expect today's show to be very informative. I look forward to engagement with the listening audience for those who may have some questions for their representative in any capacity. So I'm excited about today's show. Just to give an idea to the listening audience of what to expect today, I think you just touched on one of them, is what is the national plan in respect to COVID-19 coronavirus. I also intend to be speaking about child care and the effects of the lack of it on the economy, on family life, on the work market, and employment, particularly amongst women. The effects on barbershops, or the lack thereof, and beauty salons not being in operation, and unfortunate development of I guess, underground market that is happening, that is causing more danger than actually having them open. Unemployment, as well as the housing market. So there's a list of other things that I think may come up throughout the show, but I'm going to be primarily talking about those. It's always a pleasure to be here on the show with you, OC. The dialogue usually comes out pretty informative, so I look forward to today's show, and I want to encourage everybody who's out there to please feel free to call into the number 949-6990. That's a straight line number. I'm not sure what the 1-800 number is.
We'll share them with them eventually. What I'll share in the meantime, since we still have some time, the press release issued by the Customs and Border Control, CBC, confirms officer tested positive for COVID-19. Customs and Border Control was informed by the Public Health Department that a CBC officer has tested positive for COVID-19. The employee is now in isolation, and the Public Health Department has immediately commenced the required contact tracing. We pray that our colleague will remain in good health and will test negative at the end of the 2-week period of isolation, stated CBC Director Mr. Charles Clifford. The need for further testing / isolation will be determined once the risk assessment is completed. More than 120 CBC officers and employees have been tested for COVID-19 thus far, and the testing is continuing. CBC's policy is to sanitize the work area of an employee that has tested positive for COVID-19 immediately after notification of a positive result. So it is good to see, again, Customs and Border Control, they have come forward, pointed out what the particular situation is, and say that, what actions, have been taken. We continue, and I think rightfully so, to not divulge the names of persons who have tested positive, but those entities where the person has been employed, I think it is extremely important for them to notify the public that they have staff members who have tested and what they're doing about it. That is what transparency is all about, and I think people appreciate that more, to know. People appreciate it more, that information is coming out, and then they can make their decision in relation to what they what actions they will take in that instance. There's something else that I wanted to share with you. I hope I can read it from my phone here. Otherwise, I have it on. It had to do with, on Monday, I did read something from the Water Authority, and it was supposed to be in relation to no rate change, but it had more to do with payment and everything, and then a correction was sent out. And I think that this one is good news to the public, those of you who are customers of the Water Authority as well. I don't believe, Ms. Susan, do you think we're going to have enough time to share it with you? Just let me know. If not, we'll have enough time to share it. Okay, so the Water Authority has reported that the Water Authority regulations allow for annual rate adjustments. However, this year there will not be an increase in water and sewage rates. Good news, right? The quote is that the services provided by the Water Authority are essential, particularly during a health crisis like the one we are currently facing. Maintaining the current rates provide the public with the assurance that they can continue to access these services at an economical cost, commented Mr. Kerner Gomez, the chairman of the Water Authority Board. And then it goes on to give figures in terms of the rates and the cubic meters and stuff like that, which is all Greek, to me, and will be Greek to you. But what is important is that you will not see a increase in the water rates or the sewage rates this year from the Water Authority. The release goes on to say that this is a very challenging time for our community, and many of our customers are facing financial hardships due to the coronavirus pandemic, notes Water Authority Director Dr. Julia Frederick Van Genderen. Water and waste water services are vital for public health, and the authority is pleased to continue to provide these services at an affordable rate. The authority's website contains a variety. Oops, lost that. Sorry about that. The authority's website contains a variety of resources to help customers understand their bills, reading their water meters, and conserve water by reducing water use through smart home and landscaping habits as well. So here we have one government entity, all right, even though it is it's a government company headed by a Caymanian, the board chaired by a Caymanian, Caymanians looking out for Caymanians and doing it legally. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the delayed 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 4 minutes after 8.
Serve up a chef-prepared dinner at home like it's your own. Foster's Take-Home Family Meals are now available to order online for pickup in store. It's easy. Just choose your main course, a couple of sides, and you can even add a dessert. Meals start at $39.99 and feed a family of 4. Avoid the lines and pick up via our dedicated deli line at our airport and Camana Bay locations. Find our menu and start your order by visiting fosters.ky/family meals.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. 3 new positives, bringing the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Cayman to 137. Tuesday evening, Chief Medical Officer Dr. John Lee reported a further 414 COVID test results through the screening program. There were 3 positives, which he says were likely cases of community-acquired COVID-19. Contact tracing has begun. Premier the Honourable Alda McLaughlin says it's expected with frequent COVID testing that positives would come out of the woodwork.
The people that are being tested are people who are being tested as part of a screening process. So we would expect that doing it this way, we will wind up with a significant number of positives because we've always believed that the virus must be out there. What we are seeking to do is to avoid what has happened and is happening in many places in the world.
Though the numbers increase, the situation appears stable in the Cayman Islands.
For one reason or some reasons which are not yet understood, the virus does not seem to be being transmitted readily at this stage in the Cayman experience, nor are people getting sick or really sick. In the early stages of this, the virus was very much presenting the way it has done right across the world.
This apparent calm of symptoms, according to Mr. McLaughlin, does not mean Cayman should throw caution to the wind.
We had some very, very sick people in hospital at some points. We had some people who came close to death. That is not occurring now. But we have to be very careful that we don't fall into the trap of not having had a first wave. Dr. Lee said we had a ripple, but that we don't become complacent and we do wind up with a wave. And that is why the government is still continuing with a great deal of caution, unlocking areas of the economy only after testing.
Tests will continue to be done with a minimum wait time of 2 weeks to observe results in each demographic before moving to the next stage. And regular random testing will continue after nearly full reopening to keep assessing the virus on island. Cayman's fish market has reopened, and as Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego reports, it's not without a few restrictions amid the COVID-19 pandemic.
The fish market is now open to the public at the South Terminal on Harbor Drive in Georgetown, and the Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure announces if you head there in true COVID-19 fashion, you will be required to wear a face mask and maintain a distance of 6 feet from any person where possible. The alphabetical system will also apply. Members of the public with surnames beginning A through K are only allowed to visit the market on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Surnames L through Z on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Officials say the temporary move is to ensure the safety of operators and the general public amid COVID-19. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
And in the face of the global pandemic, there is increased stress, which can be overwhelming and can bring on strong emotions in adults and children. Another session of the Family Resource Center's parenting webinar comes out tonight. And FRC's program facilitator Anne-Marie Diaz says the focus is on learning ways you and your family can reduce stress.
Been getting a great turnout from parents and a great response coming back where parents are saying that they're finding the webinars quite useful and the information is impacting their families positively, and so we're so happy to be getting that feedback and to continue to provide this service on a weekly basis on Wednesdays at 4:30.
You can register and get information by emailing frc@gov.ky or by calling 949-0006. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News, we're Jerry Smith. Protesters in Hong Kong are marching on several locations across the Chinese territory, defying a heavy police presence on the streets and orders to disperse. The protests were timed to mark the passage of a proposed law that criminalises insulting the Chinese national anthem. Police say they've arrested 300 people. Official figures in France suggest the economy will contract by 20% this quarter because of the coronavirus. France is already in a recession, and the lockdown has exacerbated an already sluggish economy. The head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, is setting out proposals shortly for a massive package of grants and loans to help those member states worst affected by coronavirus. It's said to be similar to a proposal put forward by France and Germany. BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Funky Tank Shen Road location is now open for deliveries, Monday to Saturday.
8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Call 949-0998, WhatsApp 916-0568, or email markw_ft@hotmail.com.
Funky Tanks is your music and more store.
Shen Road location now open for deliveries, Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Stay safe and stay home, Cayman.
With no vaccine, with no cure, our current solution is keeping our distance and staying at home. We stay at home to keep safe, to reduce harm to others. We stay apart while out and about, space between life and death. We keep our distance 6 feet apart because 6 feet apart is better than 6 feet below. We stay at home because it takes upwards of 40 nurses, doctors, laboratory technicians, housekeepers to care for one COVID-19 patient. Diagnosis, intubation, extubation to full recovery. 40 healthcare professionals and their families at risk while taking care of one COVID-19 patient. Breathe easy. Keep your distance. Stay home. Don't risk you. Don't risk others. This is Rotary Central saying, live to breathe, breathe to live, because breathing is everything.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
A.L. Thompson's has reopened to the public. Shop for all your home and garden needs at A.L. Thompson's in any of 3 ways that suit you. You can come to the store and shop in person. You can shop online for curbside pickup. And you can shop online for delivery to your home. A.L. Thompson's wants to make your shopping easy, efficient, and safe. We offer goods that you need now for your home and yard. For shopping details and procedures, please visit althompson.com.
Arnold Athelin Foster, 1893 to 1970. Mr. Cappy Foster married Agatha Vandesand in Cayman Brac in 1915, and together they raised 8 children. Their parents contributed to the growth and success of the Cayman Islands. 2 sons chose a life of public service, Dennis as a chief secretary and Trevor as an MLA and member of executive council. Their other children have been successful business people who have created jobs for Caymanians and given much to their communities. Mr. Cappy was a devoted husband and father. He spent many hours farming and operating his bakery in Cayman Brac, and at one time managed a well-respected boatyard, Cayman Boats Limited, in Jamaica. He was an active member and deacon of Ebenezer Baptist Church at the Creek. His love for God, family, and country were an example for others to follow. One of Mr. Cappy's many contributions was as a founder of Cayman Brac Power and Light Company. In recognition of his service, he was requested by the government to represent Cayman Brac at a reception for Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in Jamaica in 1953.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
With no vaccine, with no cure, our current solution is keeping our distance and staying at home. We stay at home to keep safe, to reduce harm to others. We stay apart while out and about, space between life and death. We keep our distance 6 feet apart because 6 feet apart is better than 6 feet below. We stay at home because it takes upwards of 40 nurses, doctors, laboratory technicians, housekeepers to care for one COVID-19 patient. Diagnosis, intubation, extubation to full recovery. 40 healthcare professionals and their families at risk while taking care of one COVID-19 patient. Breathe easy. Keep your distance. Stay home. Don't risk you. Don't risk others. This is Rotary Central saying, live to breathe, breathe to live, because breathing is everything.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking, change your life. Emotions are an ever-present, pressing, and sometimes painful force in our lives. When things happen in our life that are out of our control, we can feel helpless, hopeless, and overwhelmed. If you're able to do something to change the situation, then go for it. If there's nothing more that you can do to change it, then try to change your reaction to it. Look for information that you may have missed while you were emotional. Try to understand the other person's point of view. Or, if all else fails, accept that this situation is the current reality, even if it's not what it should be or what we hoped for. It is temporary, and do what you need to do to get through the painful moments. Breathe, pray, listen to music, or seek out support.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 84 degrees. Relative humidity is 87%. Barometric pressure 29.93 inches and rising. The wind is east at 7 knots. Overnight low temperature was 76 degrees. Synopsis indicate light winds and slight seas are over the Cayman area for the next 24 hours, in association with a slack pressure gradient over the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show isolated showers over the Cayman area, which are moving towards the west. Now, the forecast for today and tonight calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures will be in the upper 80s today and will fall to the upper 70s tonight. Your winds will be east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Today's high tide will occur this afternoon at 12:28, low tide this evening at 6:59. The sun will set this evening at 6:57 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:48. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Friday morning.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Subway is helping to keep Cayman safe by limiting store openings and hours, offering curbside pickup and delivery right to your door. With 3 locations currently open to serve you: Anderson Square in Georgetown, Centennial Towers in West Bay, and Countryside Shopping Village in Savannah. Subway is open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on soft curfew days. Free delivery for orders with a minimum $20 purchase. Delivery times only from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. Subway, helping you to enjoy your favorite foods in the safest way possible.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look what's happening on our roads. Traffic is steady but flowing on Cool Road as well as on the Linford Pearson Highway and coming from the east on Shamrock Road as well. Moderate flow of traffic in both directions coming from and going towards the West Bay 4-way stop. As we look to the West Bay Road, especially in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. Light traffic on Owen Roberts Drive and traffic flowing at a good pace on Shedden Road, and light to moderate traffic flow on Edward Street. And on Northbound Road, traffic is moderate in both directions. So that's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll give you another traffic outlook. Have a good morning and click it or ticket.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Christian Enlightenment Center is now open for deliveries. Call and order your favorite inspirational books, journals, Bibles, Bible cases, church supplies, stationery, and many other unique items. Christian Enlightenment Center, your complete Christian bookstore and more. To place your order for delivery, text or WhatsApp 923-8050 or email us at ceccenter@candw.ky. Check out our website at christianenlightenmentcenter.com. Browse items on your Facebook page by clicking Shop to view all our collections. Opening hours 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday to Saturday.
Helping children cope during this pandemic is important. Remember, dealing with the outbreak calmly provides your child with the best support. Lead by example and take care of your needs too. To support your child, listen and acknowledge their fears and questions. Provide clear information and be aware of your own reactions. Help children by creating new routines, limiting their exposure to media, and encouraging them to talk about what they've seen and heard. For free and confidential support, call the Mental Health Helpline weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 1-800-534-MIND. That's 1-800-534-6463.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best in sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether we're celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
FIS MoneyGram is pleased to announce their Shen Road location will be reopening for money transfer services effective Monday, May the 4th. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, MoneyGram and Shen Road will be open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday, servicing customers with A through K surnames on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and customers with L through Z surnames on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. To ensure social distancing requirements, customers are required to make an appointment on their days by WhatsApp or texting 928-5130. That's 928-5130. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling, West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
The Cayman Islands government wishes to advise the public that they will continue to distribute reusable cloth masks across the Cayman Islands with the assistance of the RCIPS Community Police Officer and Community Safety Officer in your areas. Officers will be visiting homes in all districts over the next few weeks, and a limited supply of both disposable and reusable masks will also be available at supermarkets. Remember, you are required to wear a mask when indoors in any public place and when using public transportation. Continue to maintain a minimum of 6-foot distance at all times from persons who do not live in your own household, and wash hands frequently. Stay safe, Cayman.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the Record with Orrett Connor continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We apologize for the long break there, but we had to make up some ground that was lost before we went to the news. So we hope and we trust that you're with us still. If you're not with us, we will say something that will push the button. We will have a topic that will push the button, and everyone will be calling. Did you hear what they just said on For the Record? And everyone will switch back over again. It is my pleasure. No, Miss Susan is telling me that they're right there with us. They stayed right there. My pleasure to have in the studio MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan. Mr. Bryan, again, good morning, sir. Let's get on to your program.
Good morning again, OC, and good morning to the listening audience. Thank you all for staying with us through that little break. A lot to talk about today, so I think we should just dive straight into it.
Sure.
Some topics today, as I was repeating earlier, that I want to discuss and hopefully get some feedback from the public is, first one, the national plan. What is it? Also, the dangers of not having hair salons and barbershops open, as well as the dangers to have them open. The third one, lack of child care and care for the elderly, and I'll explain that a little bit in further depth. The employment numbers, or unemployment numbers, should I say, the needs assessment unit, and the thousands, or if not hundreds of persons who are still haven't been given assistance, as well as housing, as well as the mass distribution that I've just happily completed yesterday of my constituency after a 10-day run. So those are the things we're going to talk about. I'm just going to try to knock out the ones that are simple and easy first, like the distribution of masks.
Sure.
Thankfully, with the help of the police, community police officers at the Royal Cayman Police Service, I've been able to get around to my constituency and knock on every door. There is still about 3% of my constituency that hasn't received, and intend to finish them off today. As you know, the government purchased 100,000 reusable cloth masks for distribution. I took it upon myself to make sure that I went around with the police officers to get around to all the different locations. Some roads were done by the police officers alone, but 85% of them were done by myself or by the officers. If you have not received a cloth mask in my constituency, or you're my constituent, please feel free to contact me. I will make sure one will get to you. It's important that every single living soul in my constituency gets one. My number is 926-0005. 926-0005. I am mindful that not everybody was home when we were doing our deliveries, so there's a possibility that you may not have been home. I know there's a very small percentage, because most people, at least one person, was home at the time. So feel free to call me in that respect. I want to start now with the national COVID plan. Honestly, OC, I can't even say much about it because we have not been able to see it. The reason I'm bringing it up is because, obviously, as a legislator, I've been doing my best to not try to become a burden for the government as an opposition member, to be very mindful that we're in this together. But I think we've run out of time now in respect to the national plan. I had the privilege of doing some research on other countries and where they are with their national plans. And the UK has printed and released their national plan. It's a 50-page document, a very extensive outline, detailed as to what steps, where we're going, and how we're going to get there. Now, I've heard a number of things from the government, giving indications that they're doing the same thing, but we haven't seen it. We haven't gotten an opportunity to read the details of it. Funny enough, there's a lot of similarities in what I've heard from the government as well as what's in that national plan. So it seems like maybe a duplication with some amendments to shape for the Cayman side of things, which is what I expected because we're a British overseas territory. But here's where the problem lies with it not being in the public domain. I understand that they need time. We don't have the resources like the UK. UK have billions of dollars as well as billions of staff, and we're trying to go as fast as we can. And I want to give the government the credit for that. But the longer you wait to release that, the more difficult it will be for us to find our new way forward. Businesses as well as the public need to start to mentally prepare themselves for what the expectations are on them in the new phases. For example, I have a major problem right now with many of my constituents' businesses like barbershops and hair salons. Now, we know the dangers of close proximity for this virus. But what the national plan can do is give them the tools and information necessary to start prepping themselves to be prepared to go at day one when it's open. And this goes into my next topic about the hair salons and barbershops. I know that many people go, well, hair salons and barbershops are not a top priority because it's potentially dangerous. But what a lot of people are not probably recognizing is there's this underlying black market that is starting with barbershops and hair salons where people are going to people's homes and doing hair care. Because obviously everybody wants to be beautiful. And matter of fact, I'll take this opportunity to say, please forgive me, those who are watching via YouTube, of my state of my hair. As you can tell, I
won't even speak about mine.
But what I'm worried about is this black market, underground market, is probably worse than actually regulating and controlling the properly licensed, having them open. Because if we actually look deeper into barbershops and hair salons, technically speaking, they should all be certified and proper hygiene practices when dealing with close proximity of beauty care. And as far as I know, in most cases, they have to prove these certifications, and those certifications teaches them about proper sterilization of equipment and how to deal with persons on a one-to-one level. And I've seen where other jurisdictions have implemented that. I've done some research on other countries who have set out a set of guidelines of what these hair salons and barbershops should be doing. The truth of the matter is there's no standard, there's no true standard here in the Cayman Islands for beauty salons and barbershops, and that's probably what's given them the most problems. But this is the perfect...
When you say true standards in terms
as
of
into hygiene standards, because I'm assuming that much of the barbershops and hair salons that we see may not offer the best standards and the government may feel the risk of not wanting to do that because of those factors. But
because they are inspected by the DEH, I think.
Which is good.
Yeah.
So my question is, if there is a good enough standard that they're comfortable with, why can't there be protocols put in place with PPEs, personal protective equipment, that allows these salons and barbershops to open? Now, I don't want the public to think that I'm trying to rush this. This is something that we have to be very cautious with, and I support the government with that cautious approach. But they need to start thinking about the underground black market that is happening that could be potentially even more dangerous than that. So I want to hear more from people about that, because people are expected to go back to work now too. And personal hygiene can be certain things that are within business standards when you come to work. So thankfully, I have 2 hair clippers, and usually when my hair gets too long, I just ball it down to the bare minimum, and I have a clippers for my face, which I shape up every day. Without that, I think I would probably be the ugliest looking MLA in the country. I don't know how the other MLAs are cutting their hair and doing it, honest to God, because I see some people who look pretty sharp.
Yeah.
And I know I haven't seen my barber in over 3.5 months. So I'm not trying to be selfish in respect to what happened to me. It doesn't matter how I look, but I'm worried about the safety elements that are happening behind closed doors. I've actually gone around, given masks out, and popped up and come up on barbershops right there.
But one of the things that we have to do with that is that we have to appeal to people and convince them that by inviting someone into your house, inviting someone into your yard, that you are exposing yourself and you're exposing every member of that household to possibly contracting COVID-19 as a result.
I think
so. We have to continue to say to them, and to plead with them to use their better judgment. Which one is more important, looking pretty or having a funeral director make you look pretty?
I agree with you, and I think that message is going very, very strong. The government is doing a good job reminding people about that. I give them credit with that respect, as well as the government information services pushing that issue. But I think there is more to it than just simply the safety element. There's the economic effects on it as well. So, for instance, there are people who work in hair salons, and I wanted to get the figures before this morning's show, how many barbershops and how many hair salons we actually have in this country and how many people are employed by it. Now, I know a natural reaction about, they all work permit holders, but they're all consumers of our society as well. And not all of them are work permit holders. There's many Caymanians that are in the beauty industry, as well as the owners are Caymanian. So we have to be mindful of that. So there is the job part of things as well as the safety part of things. So the expectation that this is not going to be something that people want. Human beings are human beings, and they're going to want these things addressed. And if it's not provided for in a structured, controlled way, then the people are going to go out and try to get it done. And I'm saying that what we have to do is re-examine that rather than allowing this black market to happen and it becomes more riskier. Isn't it better to say, okay, then let's open some of the shops that has good standards that can prove that they can be done in a hygiene way, that has the certifications from the various different institutions of beautification that can prove that this can be done. Because I'm worried, I honestly must say, based on my groundwork, over the last 10 days of distributing masks, I've seen a lot of different things that will come up in the campaign next year. But the immediate issue is that I've seen 4 different cases amongst the last 10 days where I've come up as either a barbershop or somebody doing somebody else's hair.
We have a caller, I think, who wants to comment on what we're talking about now. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC and Mr. Bryant.
Good morning, sir.
This is Richard Sims here.
Good morning, sir.
I'm just listening, and I just wanted to kind of bring some clarity on a point that you made earlier in relation to the barber salon. I just want to make it known that every beauty salon and barber shop in the Cayman Islands, all of their staff are trained and receive certification from the DH. Those certifications last for 3 years. Right, so they are trained about the health and safety practices and all the hygiene practices, and we do monitor those people. Right, so I just wanted to make sure that point is clear, because when I hear that nothing is being done here in Cayman Islands about that, that is our responsibility. We take it seriously, and we make sure that those people are trained and certified.
Okay,
thank you
very
Mr.
much
Sims.
for that.
Before you go, sir, I definitely do want to leave you with the thought that I was saying that the DH isn't doing anything. I was talking about the overall plan to address this matter. But I'm glad that you called in. In your professional opinion, in respect to the hygiene, can hair salons and barbershops operate in a structured way to offer those services in a safe manner with the current virus circumstances?
I'm sure they can, with the training that they have already received, and obviously we have to take some extra precaution as relates to COVID-19, yes. But, in ensuring that these people understand social distancing, every customer coming into the facility has to wear masks, and they have to wear the mask and shield when they're dealing up close with persons. So as long as those things are properly enforced, it can work. But we just need to understand that like I say, these people, they're well trained already, and we monitor those establishments. So yes, my personal opinion, I think they can. As long as the safety practices are put in place, it can be controlled and work safely.
Yeah. One more question before you go, Mr. Sims. When they are allowed to operate, will you have the manpower to monitor them on a regular basis? For instance, on the waterfront, they allow the fishermen to sell fish out there, and I was out there on Monday, and while I was there, one police vehicle came there, pulled up, checked to see that things were going smoothly, and I believe there was a camera that's pointing towards the south terminal from the main terminal over at Port Authority, looking at them as well. So my question is, would you then increase your monitoring of these facilities?
To let you know, I have a special team of food officers. Mm-hmm. that deals with that, and I have an officer that is responsible for each district when it comes to monitoring of food establishments. All right, because we take those things seriously. Mm-hmm. So the resources is already in place to monitor those things.
Great.
So a lot of people don't know what the DH does. They only think of us as garbage men. The first thing you think of is garbage, right? Because what you got to understand, I have a full-time set of people. Professional guys who deal with every single food that comes into this country. We inspect before they go on themselves to go to the supermarket. All right. Mm-hmm. So we already have these things in place. They're monitoring the foods that make sure that they're safe for people to consume in this country. Right. So the team is already in place to monitor these things, and they have been monitoring these things every week, every day. Right. And it has heightened since the COVID-19 because, as you know, we also train. All the food handlers, all the restaurant persons, they're also certified and everything. So those people have the training, they monitor them regularly. So, that's not a problem in terms of resources for us, right? But it's already in place, and we can deal with it, right?
Mr. Sims, I hope you would allow one more. I'm not sure if you can actually answer this, but I'll put it to you anyway. Are you aware of any spike in underground or black market hair salons and barbershops popping up? Has there been any alert brought to your guys' attention in respect to that?
To be honest with you, sir, I've not personally. It's not been brought to my attention until I hear you with it this morning. Okay. And that not to say I've been, and there might this setting that we're currently in. It's an opportunity for those sort of black market to develop because people are saying, listen, I have to survive and I need to make sure that some sort of income is coming in. And if it means doing it from my home, which is unsafe, we don't encourage those kind of things. Yeah. We never, ever encourage that. But unfortunately, the situation that we're in now would breed that sort of environment where people now creating these black market opportunities. And then people, like you say earlier, want to make themselves look good in any way, so they will do that at all costs, even if it means detrimental to themselves and their family, right? It's all about beautification for themselves, which is, is selfish in my opinion, but, nonetheless, these people will take the chances that they see, which is quite unfortunate. But once these establishments are open, then that will give us an opportunity to properly control and monitor so these people can be in a controlled environment and know that they will be under scrutiny and have to follow protocols, right?
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of to bring some light to that because, like I say, a lot of people just think us as garbage men, but our responsibilities are far and wide.
Exactly, and I want to thank you very much for clarifying that and calling in as well. Folks, we've gone past our commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best in sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Water Authority offices remain closed, and the authority will only be providing essential services at this time to ensure customers have water supply. Customers can still conduct business with the authority electronically. If you need to pay a bill, you can do it online by visiting our website, waterauthority.ky, and clicking on the Pay My Bill button. You can also make a payment via your bank. Customers can also contact our customer service team by emailing info@waterauthority.ky. Customers in Cayman Brac who require trucked water can continue to make requests by calling 948-1403. For updates and important messages from the Water Authority, visit our website, waterauthority.ky, or our social media pages.
Insurance is complicated. Make your life easier and better protected with comprehensive financial solutions from FIS Insurance Brokers, with plans from life, health, property insurance, motor, public liability, and professional liability insurance. Whether you're protecting your family or your business, leave nothing to chance. Understand your options and protect yourself for the future. Speak to your FIS Insurance Broker agent today, located on Shedden Road by MoneyGram, or call 623-5616.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
During these challenging times, it can be easy to lose sight of all that we have to be grateful for. As the world grapples with the effects of COVID-19, at the forefront of the fight are the many frontline workers diligently ensuring the continuity of our islands. From the police service, members of the National Emergency Operations Center, healthcare workers, the DEH, grocery and pharmacy attendants, and so many more. Along with the daily conch call at 6:59 p.m., Radio Cayman invites the community to call in to talk today, every Friday, for Frontline Fridays. Share your stories and experiences and let us as a community start the gratitude trend to the many people putting their lives on the front line. Whether you have a family member on the front line and wish to give them a shout out, or if you have a personal experience of Cayman kindness, we want to hear from you. Frontline Fridays, every Friday on Talk Today.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Dear students, we know that you miss your friends, being outside, and most of all, coming to school.
And we hope that you understand that everything happening right now is to keep you safe from harm.
You are our priority. You are the future. So even though this is a very tough time, we believe in you to be the leaders we know you can be.
To stay focused on doing your best work, even when no one is watching.
To be helpful and respectful to your parents and guardians at all times.
To be kind and thoughtful to everyone around you.
To always be thankful, even for the little things.
And most of all, to remember to keep in touch with us, because
we are here for you. Love your teachers.
A message from the East End, Edna Moyle, John Gray, Layman E. Scott, Red Bay, T.O. Line McCoy, West End, and the Lighthouse Schools.
Are you a Caymanian experiencing unemployment or have recently been laid off? Are you already registered with work but need to know what jobs are available or how to post job ads? Contact Work today. Call 945-9672 or toll free at 1-800-534-9672 or email worc@gov.ky. The Cayman Islands government wishes to advise the public that they will continue to distribute reusable cloth masks across the Cayman Islands with the assistance of the RCIPS Community Police Officer and Community Safety Officer in your areas. Officers will be visiting homes in all districts over the next few weeks, and a limited supply of both disposable and reusable masks will also be available at supermarkets. Remember, you are required to wear a mask when indoors in any public place and when using public transportation. Continue to maintain a minimum of 6-foot distance at all times from persons who do not live in your own household, and wash hands frequently. Stay safe, Cayman.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA, Mr. Kenneth Bryan. We have a caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning. You hearing me?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I'm just calling on behalf of the barbers. I'm just saying, behalf of the sanitize in the COVID-19, we are already doing that from a long time. So, like, example, we use our gloves and we disinfect our machine frequently as a client come inside. So each time a client come in, we assist that we spray our machine and we also wash our hands. So we're already doing that from a long time. So in Cayman Islands, we already have our certificate that we do the barber training around the DEH. And sometimes them come around and check on the barbers them if them continue doing the proper thing that they teach us. So I'm just calling that we the barbers then we already doing sanitize.
Question: Have you been tested for COVID-19?
Well, we're not have tested as yet. So we're just waiting. Probably the government of them section where they say, all right, the barbers.
Would you feel confident and safe attending to someone not knowing whether or not you may be asymptomatic or otherwise, or they may be in the same position? Would you feel comfortable with exposing your customer?
Well, as I said, we already practice.
Now we're talking about COVID-19 now, not about the hygiene part of it. Now we're talking about whether or not you could possibly be carrying the virus, or anyone. See that is the concern. The concern now is and if you notice, for the construction industry, not everyone is being tested now, but a percentage of them are being tested. What I would say is that the people within the industry, the beautician industry, barbers, hairdressers and stuff like that, should push towards them being tested in addition to having all of the other protocols in place as well.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I accept doing that because I really want to get tested as a barber so I can start to work back, because I've been not working for a couple of months now and it's really rough now. So I would like to get tested and we can start work back again.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Bryan? Yeah.
Thank you so much, caller. I really appreciate your input in respect to that. Well, see, the thing that I want to say, I agree with the caller firstly in respect to what the normal practices are when you go to a barbershop. I go to barbershops. I go to 3 different barbershops, to be honest with you. And they usually do spray their equipment and spray their hands and clean themselves. I think that those are not necessarily the only concerns. There are some concerns, but they do those practices already. I'm talking about the other practices, like maybe scheduling that there's only a certain amount of people who can come to the salon at a particular time. More appointment-based system, because our traditional Caribbean barbershops, everybody sit down for 4 hours before you get a haircut. We can't have that practice anymore. Who's sitting down talking about, okay, the new way forward, the fact that is it possible for a client as well as we know that the barber or the hairstylist in a salon perspective can wear a mask, but how can you do hair with the customer wearing a mask? Because most times, like things, for instance, you can't put the hair tie all around the hair because that's what you're tending to, or nails for that factor. But I'm thinking about adding more protocols that can assist them to open. So can the hair salon prove that they can have protective gear, protective personal equipment, whether it be masks, gloves, coverings of their body? Also, what is their structured protocol for their customers when they come in? Can they say, okay, we'll allow you to open, but you're only allowed to have 2 customers at a time, and once that person leaves, then somebody else can come in? There is ways to do this. Have extra sanitary purposes, asking customers if they're not feeling well, not to come into the shop. All of these types of things can be put in. A system can be put in place. But though I recognize there is a risk, in every situation there's going to be risks, and the government recognized that even with you opening up a local store, hardware store like we've seen recently, there's risk, but you put in measures in place, and measures can be put in place exactly the same way for hair salons. The reason why I'm talking about this topic specifically today is I am worried about the black market that is happening and can create more dangers than the current danger of actually opening them. So that's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay, we're going to try to see if we can grab one more call before headline news at 9 o'clock. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Kenneth Bennett, Mr. O.C.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I was listening to the barber just now, and I think, Mr. Connor, I think in order for any sector to get tested, they would have to be given the essential license from government. So they just can't show up to be tested. They have to be a part of the permitted companies that are allowed. So I think they would have to wait on that prior to getting tested. And also there's a lot of data that shows on one hand that asymptomatic person, there's a very low probability of them transmitting it. And then there's other information that says that there is a possibility. We just don't know what to believe. But one thing we have learned over the past few weeks is that there are a lot more asymptomatic persons than what we originally suspected. Now, the key to that is that there have also been some, and I've spoken to a doctor, a good friend of mine here who worked locally, and he said that there were some asymptomatic persons that had small traces of COVID-19, and then they recovered from it without getting sick at all. So the question then begs, and I understand the intimacy of barbers and hair salon workers on their relationship with their customers and the direct contact that you gotta have with them, that they're at higher risk of transmitting if they do have it, right? And vice versa if the person comes in with it.
Yep.
So I think I don't think there's a safe way to do it, to be honest, because I just like everything else, we have to tread very lightly.
Yeah, it's risky. Yeah.
Yeah, I think barbers on a whole stand a better chance than the hair salon per se, because they wash hair and the barber can have a mask on, the person who's getting the haircut can have a mask on, and they sanitize their equipment like he said. But again, that's still a large block of our society that is unfortunately not financially secured beyond a few months, and they will be the first persons who will feel direct impact from it, along with a whole host of other people. But anyway, good conversation, Kenneth. Sincerely appreciate you continuing to come on the radio. Guys, have a good one.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much as well. Folks, top of the hour, 9 o'clock. When we return, we still have another caller on hold. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news.
Access.
Local, regional, international, this is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
Cayman reports 3 new positives, bringing the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases to 137. This after 414 test results were reported Tuesday night through the screening program. 3 positives, which are likely cases of community-acquired transmission. Contact tracing has begun. The European Commission chief has laid out a plan on how to finance the European Union's economic recovery. The Commission is to recommend a fund worth €750 billion, that's about $825 billion, to tackle the, quote, unprecedented crisis. Latin America has become the center of the global pandemic. The region now has more daily reported cases of COVID-19 than Europe and the United States. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson will be questioned by MPs later amid continued calls. His top advisor resigns. France halts the use of hydroxychloroquine to treat coronavirus patients because of potential health risks. More than 5.6 million cases and over 350,000 deaths have been confirmed worldwide. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the Record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, my name is Mr. Kenneth Bryan, and one caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Good.
You're breaking up, caller. You may want to change your location, or if there's a speakerphone involved, or just raise your voice a little bit louder, please. No, this is it isn't working so far. We're going to try to see if Ms. Susan can get that caller sorted out. Mr. Bryan.
If I can just say this, I don't want to hold too long on this particular topic. If people want to call in and ask questions about that, then totally fine. But I want to just say simply, we had to recognize that in respect to beautification, it's kind of unfair to some industries because we have situations where pain medicine has been given approval. And pain medicine goes as far as giving massages. But for sports injuries and the like. And we now know of professionals who are masseuse given massages, which is in very close contact. Mm-hmm. So what are the protocols there? Or what are they doing there that a hair salon can't do? And some of these hair salons do massages as well. And cutting somebody's hair isn't as close as actually physically touching somebody's body, even though you can wear gloves. So you got to understand where the business community comes from and how they feel about these things when they see other unfair circumstances happen. Say, well, hold on, well, why can this person do it and I can't? And I have to recognize not only the employees, but the employers who are the ones who are floating us through this because they have to pay the employees to survive. So I think the government really needs to come out with this plan. And I didn't want to get in the way, but the government has to come out with this plan in order for the business community to prepare themselves for whenever they're going to open up. And if they're going to open up, what would be the new way forward and the expectations put on them so they can plan to prepare. And I'll give you an example, OC. The lack of putting the plan out there has caused on the country. When we allowed the gardeners to go back to work, right? We announced it on Friday, and by all means, I was so happy because my yard looking kind of rough. So they let them go on Friday to say you can start opening on Monday without any release of expectations or nothing like that. Here's what happened. Every single gardener went out because they were happy for work. They went up and cleaned. Everybody went down by the dump at the end of the day to dump off their stuff. Come to find out, they weren't allowed to dump. They had to have they had to get an approval letter from curfew times before they can dump the garbage because they didn't plan. And why they didn't plan is because the expectations is not revealed to them. This is the importance.
But I thought DEH had put out a notice in relation to dumping at the dump.
Nope.
You know.
No, they did not. And I really do want to get down to the next.
No, they may not have put it out when the release when they said we're going to allow gardeners, but they had put out something in relation to garbage being dropped off there.
Let me give you the facts and details because I don't want to be misinforming the public. The Premier announced gardeners will be exempt as of Monday. That was the Friday. That notice came out Monday evening. By then, all the gardeners had done clean up the whole place and said, listen, you need to have this exempt letter in order to dump. I've had 4 different businesses that are constituents of mine call me and say, Kenneth, they just turned me back from the dump. What am I supposed to do with all this waste? I had to end up calling Mr. Sims, who dealt with it in a very practical way and said, listen, okay, well, obviously the department or the minister or ministers didn't know what the expectation would be, but we can't just allow people randomly come in here because we have safety factors as well. So they gave a blight to persons for that one day, and they had to come back the next day. So all these gardeners were forced to try to email in that night, thinking that it was just a wide open a policy that once you're prove that you're a gardener with your business license, you can do it. And again, that
right hand has to know what the left hand is doing.
Exactly. That's my point. So we need to let the people know, and the only how they're going to know that is by seeing the plan. I mean, for Christ's sake, I'm a member of the Legislative Assembly. I don't know what the plan is. This has to, and this is not me trying to be difficult, but we have to tell the country what the plan is moving forward.
And it might be more than one plan. It may be a plan for a particular segment of industry, and maybe a plan for others as well.
Exactly.
We have a caller who has rejoined us, I believe now. Caller, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. OC and MD, Mr. Kenneth Bryan.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
You're talking to a cosmetologist that have been on island for years, working many salons until the Lord bless me and I have my own. And with the topic this morning from Mr. Kenneth Bryan with the COVID-19 situation. Being a cosmetologist, we train from school up until before this COVID-19 until in end. But what I'm saying is that a cosmetologist know the distance from another cosmetologist with her client. And also with the sanitization and the prevention of not only like the COVID is more dangerous, but you have I will tell you, you have other diseases you can accumulate or catch in the salon industry. So what happens if we don't know how to take care of ourselves and our clients, the client is at risk. With the COVID-19, it is dangerous, but there are ways and means that we can protect ourselves. With the mask, some stylists might not knowing that yet. If you're into a salon in a closed area, which just one person, because you work by appointment. I do work by appointment. If I don't have 2 clients one time, because it's me alone work. I'm a barber, I'm a nail tech, I'm a braidist, I'm everything. So it's by appointment. And saying that to say this, with the underlying viruses that going on now with everybody, yes, people are home. People are going to.
We're losing you again, caller. We're losing you.
There are people who are not even certified. People do.
We're still losing that person. Until we can reconnect, I'll read one WhatsApp message. This person has written and said, I can't believe so much energy is being placed on opening hair salons and barber shops. I needed hip surgery since February. Since it's technically, quote unquote, elective, I'm not, and since I'm not bleeding, I get it. People need to make a living. Just putting some perspective on things as well, which is good.
I want to say to that person who texted, they're 100% correct, and I think this is the opportunity to move on to the next topic. I was hoping that it wouldn't take up so much time.
It's surprising. I mean, it's one of those challenges that not only we in the Cayman Islands are facing, but all other jurisdictions are facing as well. And as you and I spoke off air, Mr. Bryan, in this regard, we have seen and we've heard that in the Cayman Islands that barbershops and beauty salons are likely to be the last ones to open. which then I would point out that they then should be eligible to some type of a grant or some type of loan from government. Since they're already telling them, listen, you're going to be down at the end of the line,
that means
then what can you do for them in the interim until you get to them? What can be done since they're going to be the last?
You're 100% right, OC. You're 100% correct. Let's take this opportunity to move on to the other topic, which is the lack of child care and elderly care. And I added that little caveat on there because it's not only child care that is going to be lost in the realm of things, but elderly care as well as we are reopening the economy. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the balance or the current circumstances we have is all schools are closed, rightfully so. All child care institutions are closed, rightfully so, because of the risks that are involved. But what has occurred now is that there's so many parents, and I don't want to say women because I don't want to think that this is only a woman problem. This is a parent problem, men and women. But women are being affected more so than men because the natural course of life that women are more caregivers than men. Not that fathers shouldn't be, because we have a serious role to play with this, and I'm going to talk about that shortly. But as businesses are starting to open and the expectations on parents to come back to work becomes more and more a reality, the concern about who's going to watch the children is coming up and becoming a serious hurdle in opening the economy. Here's what happens. A father or mother who has 2 children at home, 1 children, 3 children, it doesn't matter how much, but they need care and protection. The boss and the parents are stuck in a spot going, listen, I need you to come back to work. I've just suffered 3 months or 2 months worth of losses. I need to get my employees back going, get some money back in and generate. Can you come into work? The parent then said, I'm sorry, I can't come yet because there's no way I can leave my children with anybody. The current restrictions don't allow me to leave my kids with anybody else other than the circle of my family. And my husband just went back to work. And usually, if the husband can go back to work, that's the first one that does. Just matter of, not because of sex or gender, but simply just how we have been programmed as human beings. So in usual cases, mothers are saying, I can't come back to work. The boss goes, well, I need to make money. I'm sorry. There's a potential chance that a boss will end up making a difficult decision to say, I'm sorry, I have to lay you off. And I was reading an article in the UK that says, and check this out, it says, some women are at home because they've lost their jobs. The economic recession that has been prompted by this pandemic has disproportionately hurt women-dominated services industries, meaning at this time, unlike in 2008 recession, women made up majority of the newly unemployed. In April, the unemployment rate climbed 15.5% for women. And with black women more and Latino women more, the average of unemployment rates spiked. This is in the UK. Mm-hmm. So unemployment is a problem, and I'm going to get into that shortly. But it's going to become even more severe for women because of the natural role that I try my best to be gender neutral with this because it's not their obligation to be the parent, but they naturally take that care, love, and attention more so than fathers do. So with that in mind, when a family is together, there usually is one parent that takes care of that area of the family responsibility, and it's usually the women. Women have been fighting for decades, for centuries, trying to find their place in the workforce, and this pandemic and the lack of care for children is going to push them back because now business is going, I don't want to hire nobody who got family responsibilities. I need to make my money, which I understand that concept, but we have to start discussing how we're going to get around this, how we're going to incentivize businesses not to disproportionately put a negative effect on mothers or single parents for that fact, in respect to they have no provisions to take care of the children. And I say children, but there's also elderly persons, because there is some people who take care of their mother and father. They're elderly at home. They need attention. And they would normally have a domestic helper there to clean the house and also just supervise, because they don't need any medical care. Just say, make sure mommy don't go wandering down the road or what have you. And if they need food, just feed them. That kind of thing. So it's not only kids, it's elderly as well. They cannot go back to work because they have somebody else to care for. And I think that just like how you said about hair salons should be given a grant because they're going to be last on the list, parents that have children should be given a grant as well because they're going to be affected financially, and they potentially may find themselves at the end of this being a very high unemployment rate amongst women. And I'm sorry, I really do not want to be a difficult hurdle for the government because we have to be in this all together. But I am not satisfied at all as a legislator with the level of discussion around this topic. Mothers are the caregivers of our future. And there's not enough discussion. There's too many women calling me every single day going, Kenneth, I have to choose between my job and caring for my loved ones. And I really want to hear more about this because it's going to have a serious problem in the long term. Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, I have an email that goes somewhere, or a WhatsApp message that goes somewhere along the lines that you're talking about. And I'd like you to share that with you and comment on that when we return as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
International Lighting, Ed's Plaza, North Soundway is now open for curbside service and delivery Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. In addition to light fixtures, ceiling fans, rugs, sheet sets, and household items, International Lighting now has a selection of 3-ply masks starting from $1 CI, as well as non-disposable masks, rubbing alcohol, and gloves for sale. For curbside service and delivery, please call 945-7121, 916-8211, 916-3553 or 949-5141. Stay safe, Cayman. This is a public service announcement from your Radio Cayman, your community radio station. Here are some coronavirus prevention tips.
Home isolation means staying indoors and completely avoiding contact with other people. You need to do this if you have symptoms of COVID-19. If you are practicing home isolation, you should stay in a well-ventilated room with a window to outside that can be opened separate from other people in your home. Keep the door closed and use a separate bathroom from the rest of the household, if available. If you have to share these facilities, regular sterilization will be required. Consider drawing up a bathroom schedule for washing or bathing and have the isolated person using the facilities last.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
The Cayman Islands government wishes to advise the public that they will continue to distribute reusable cloth masks across the Cayman Islands with the assistance of the RCIPS community police officer and community safety officer in your areas. Officers will be visiting homes in all districts over the next few weeks, and a limited supply of both disposable and reusable masks will also be available at supermarkets. Remember, you are required to wear a mask when indoors in any public place and when using public transportation. Continue to maintain a minimum of 6-foot distance at all times from persons who do not live in your own household, and wash hands frequently. Stay safe, Cayman.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Mr. Kenneth Bryan, MLA, who represents Georgetown Central in our legislature. So we have this scenario. Single mother, Caymanian father. They have 2 boys. The mother was working full-time at a jewelry store before COVID-19, now unemployed. They're renting an apartment, and for her and her 2 boys. She is now fallen behind in rent, and the landlord is threatening to boot her out quite soon. The person has applied to the needs assessment unit, but they called her a few days ago to say that they can help her, but she needs the acknowledgement letter of being Caymanian for the 2 boys. So the questions are, 1, is that being done at the time by immigration or the chief immigration officer? That is, whether or not they're issuing acknowledgement letters. 2, if it is even being done or allowed now, how long would the process take after filing the documents? 3, would the DNA of the father and sons be required? I'll start with number 3. It is quite possible that the DNA may be required if it involves a grant from the board. Not only that, but we're looking at fees as well. So considerable amount of monies.
Well, I don't see really
processes like this take quite a while. Even an acknowledgement letter, if that were possible, would take quite a while. But my question here is that here is a person who's here on island, who certainly is quite eligible to apply to the needs assessment unit. And they have acknowledged that, yes, we can help you, but we need to prove that the children are Caymanian. Using my logic here, I would say they are children, and we need not go any further. They are children, and one of the major tenets of our society is that we ensure the safety and the protection of children. The courts do it. The courts ensure that whatever is done in the best interest of the child. The NAU, in this particular case, needs to do the same thing, even if it's on a temporary basis, until this can be sorted out. But those 2 children, irrespective of who the father may be, should not be left in a position of vulnerability at this point in time. Mr. Bryan, I've had my say on that.
See, I think you're right in your premise. I want to say, though, I understand where the needs assessment unit is coming from, and I can only answer or respond to that text by telling you what I would do. Yes, the needs assessment unit is obligated under law to hold accountability to making sure that persons who are given assistance is given to those who have the right to assistance in this country. They have to be accountable to the Auditor General as well. In this situation, though we are in a pandemic, it's not just normal circumstances. So you're right. what are you going to say? Because they're not Caymanian children, you ain't going to help them in this circumstance. So you're right from that viewpoint. But if they had a concern about the children not being Caymanian, I think the best way to have dealt with that, because of the time sensitivity, it would probably take about 2 months in order for them to get that information. Not only the DNA tests, that they will cost them money that they can't pay the rent for in the first place. To do two DNA tests, it will probably cost you about $800. Get the DNA test done, however long it takes to come back, then get it to the immigration department that's practically closed, and then get the letter written. Now, all of that will probably take about 2 months. By then, they'll probably starve to death or be out on the street. So what I would do is any sworn affidavit to a commitment of the truth, you can be held accountable to by law. So if the parents involved, the father, Cayman father, said, these are my children, and they can list the name of the children in there and send it into the needs assessment unit, it's almost an acceptance of responsibility to those children until further notice. Now you can say, we will preliminarily give you 2 months rent while you get these other things resolved, because you do still need to qualify that support. And then later on when it comes and say, listen, if it's not the circumstances where these are not your children, then, whether you owe the government back money later on. But we can't be arguing about it now. The people need a roof over their head now. But going back to the premise of what you said, even if they're not Caymanian children, are we saying that we're not going to pay rent for them in this circumstance? Now, that's a questionable thing, because some people will have a different view. Well, boy, they're not Cayman children. We're not supposed to be spending our money to take care of them. But we're in a pandemic, so the circumstances are a little bit different. And if they're not Cayman children, and this person, the mother of the children, are not Caymanian, we have to do everything we can to facilitate the opportunity for her to take care of her children until they can leave. Because at this particular point, the children are not Caymanian, and neither is the mother. And therefore, if you don't have an economic opportunity to take care of yourself here, then it's time for you to, look forward to going home. But that's not what is being indicated. So I think a letter from the father can be used in the court of law to say that these are Caymanian children until further notice. But we can't be sitting around going, well, I need you to prove that, when you all know that the immigration department is currently locked down right now. And then you all know that every single one of the testing tubes that is used in the government facility right now is being used to test COVID-19. How are they going to get a DNA test now? I mean, come on, we're not thinking logically in those types of approaches.
What we haven't been provided with here is that, okay, we don't know the age of the children, but they would have had to be resident in the Cayman Islands on some grounds, some basis.
Exactly.
Either if the mother is a work permit holder, then they would either be included as dependents on her work permit. And again, like you pointed out, if they would assist her, if she's eligible as a work permit holder, to make an application for a grant to assist, to seek assistance, then all she would need to prove is that they're on her work permit. So there must be some legal, unless the children haven't been properly registered in the Cayman Islands, and that part I'll need to know, and I'll try to find out from the individual, because that will guide everything as well. But it's important to know what is the status of the children here in the Cayman Islands. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation will continue, so please stay tuned.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes. Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
UPS MoneyGram is pleased to announce their Shed Road location will be reopening for money transfer services effective Monday, May the 4th. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, MoneyGram and Shed Road will be open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday, servicing customers with A through K surnames on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and customers with L through Z surnames on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. To ensure social distancing requirements, customers are required to make an appointment on their days by WhatsApp or texting 928-5130. That's 928-5130. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide.
We are currently in a soft curfew period in Grand Cayman until 8 o'clock tonight. Persons with surnames A to K are allowed to do banking and shopping on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and those with surnames L through Z are allowed to do the same on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Anyone caught breaking curfew is liable on conviction for a fine of $1,000 and to imprisonment for 6 months. For more information, go to www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic, your life connected. Beach access is now allowed using the last name protocols, but strictly for exercise, including swimming. Persons can exercise for up to 2 hours each day between 5:15 a.m. and 7 p.m. daily. Shoreline fishing and fishing by boat are allowed, but limited to 2 persons per boat. Strata pools can be used for swimming, and tennis courts can also be used, but are limited to members of a single household or a maximum of 2 persons with social distancing maintained. All residents must wear face masks or other face coverings while taking public transportation, inside buildings, or other public places. For more information and to view the new regulations in full, go to www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We had some technical, some phone difficulties with one of our callers, so we're going to play the WhatsApp message that she has sent in. I believe it is pretty lengthy, so we're going to try to play as much of it as we possibly can. Ms. Susan.
Again, Mr. O.C. and Mr. Kenneth Bryan. With this salons, we have cosmetologists here who knows how to take precaution, because we trained before even this pandemic comes in. This pandemic come in, it only give us assurance to stand out more with our regulations of hygiene, hand washing, ensure that we don't have the place crowded and people not rubbing up on each other. And with the DEH, yes, I've been in meeting, I've been in training with them all the years. They know me well. I was to adjust myself with how I deal with my clients at one point. Because when I was working for other people, they had you on commission, wherein you have to make X amount before you can get X amount. And I sit in the salon industry and I was like, oh, this is killing me health-wise. It's not healthy for the client. So Lord, please help me so I could open my own. Because I know how to run my business, because I was running business in Jamaica first. And since I was blessed to enable myself to say yes into a salon of my own, I am the sole cosmetologist there who I make appointment, I work by appointment, and it works out even better. When I finish with one client, you have one just drive in. And that one will sit in the car and wait long before this COVID. My tools are sanitized, sterilized, and the client well put in a chair, and also myself being protected because I have to wear a mask long before COVID because of my lungs condition. And the lungs condition means pulmonary fibrosis, which is dangerous. Cosmetologists, barbers, not that so bad on the barbers, but on the cosmetologists. After in chemical, get into certain enclosed area where you have mold and all of that, it affects your lungs. And I'm saying that to say this. Right now, you have customers get their service done at people's house, which I can't be comfortable working at people's house, even when I was working here before I opened my own, because it is not healthy for not even me nor the client. And they're here. So when it comes down to the COVID-19, it's just that it's an extra precautionary method that we have to take and make sure that yes, the customer have on their mask.
Okay, Mr. Brian?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think what she was just trying to add on there is the fact that, you know, precautions can be made to get this industry open. And I think we've heard a lot of feedback in respect to this area. And I go back to the national plan again. Until we get to see what the national plan is from the government, only then can we not ask these necessary questions. Because if we don't see the plan, what happens is people are just sitting around going, well, are they thinking about it? Are they not thinking about it? What's the deal? We have to wait every 2 weeks. As I was referring to you earlier this morning, that the UK has a 50-page document of exactly their exit strategy out of this pandemic. And things that are in there that won't happen until all the way in July. But you know what to expect from now. So why is it that our government can't do that? And I think it's only fair that the community, from a public perspective, from a business perspective, from a parenting perspective, we have an idea of what to expect moving forward so we can prepare ourselves for the new norm. Because what we will be like when we come out of this, and I say when, with the Lord's help, can only be done properly if we know what to do to prepare for it. Because it's not going to be business as usual. There's going to be a lot of social distancing, a lot of expectations of how we're going to operate, and every industry may operate differently. So, for instance, I give you an example. Somebody who has that same hair salon can start saying, okay, I need to get to the retail stores. I need to buy some more gloves. I need to get loads of hand sanitizers. Can I get those coveralls, the PPE, so I can operate properly? Is there a certain structure that I'm expected to those plastic glasses that you see at the supermarket now? Can I put those around my chair? The people can start to plan for it. You don't announce it and expect people to be prepared to do it the next day. I've seen this twice now. In respect to reopening, you tell them on Friday, they're all open on Monday. That can't work. The country needs to know what to expect. The customer needs to know what to expect. The business community needs to know what to expect. And this is why the pressure about the national plan has to come more hard now. And I expect this evening, this afternoon at 2 o'clock, that the government better has something more to say about the national plan, because it's going too long now. If the UK can do it with a $1 billion economy, our $1 trillion economy, if my numbers are correct, we can do that. And they have a 50-page document. I know that there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes, but it seems like they're there. I just think that the public need to see it now. So hopefully I'll get to see that. Okay. Do you have a caller?
Yeah, yes. We have a caller. We're going to grab that caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. How are you all today, Josie and Mr. Brian?
Good morning. Fine, sir. How are you?
I'm blessed, and hope you all having a blessed morning also. Just calling about a point I want to bring up. I was one of the tour operators that is now unemployed. And
caller, are you still there?
Yeah, Yeah, sorry. Well, I'm in the vehicle. Maybe it's the...
Yeah, we're getting a lot of turbulence in the background.
That now. Well, I got my air on, but... Okay. Can you hear me better now?
Much better, yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm one of the tour operators that is now unemployed because of the pandemic. And I tried to apply to DCI to get a different license for doing some deliveries and whatnot around the island, try to change my venue up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's been quite a few weeks, and I haven't even got a reply back from DCI. You would think that at this time, they would try to at least expedite your application so that we could get you back working or something. That you don't have to depend on NAU or you don't have to depend on your pension or, depend on anybody.
Yes.
I've been working from the time I was 11 years old, of course, on vacation time in the summers until now, and I'm 56. So, I love to work, but this is just one of those unfortunate situations where I can't work now because all the borders are closed. And, what's the plan for that? They're not getting back to us and saying, okay, go ahead, you can, your license being approved, you can start doing this sort of business. In a situation like that, what?
Well, what I can say to you, caller, is that Minister Hugh is scheduled to be on the show on Monday. And I think DCI falls under his ministry. We have gotten similar comments from other tour operators, as well. We have gotten some suggestions in terms of the ability for them, whenever schools open, to be able to bus private school students and to do other things. But those things are still some way off. It doesn't help you in your current situation now. So I will remember, what your point that you have brought to our attention here, and raise that with Minister Hugh on Monday. Or if you want to, please feel free to call in during the course of the show and raise your question again, because, you need to have some answers as well. Yes.
Quick point. With any more support from government, I haven't heard anything. They sent out a form the other day from the tourism department, I think it was. And it was just a quick questionnaire. And they're asking, are you unemployed, and to show that you're Caymanian.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, I sent in my registration for my voter's ID and everything. And it's been a few days also, and I haven't heard anything back. In fact, there's no automatic reply or anything saying we have received your... so was that just a survey, or...
I think the government...
highlight me with that?
The government has given some indication that it is possible, because they do realize that $600 that was initially given, that's basically gone. And they have given some indication that it's quite possible that more funding may become available. Mr. Bryan, you have an idea on it?
I wish I could answer that. I have no idea. The government has not given any Any information I know is just from the press conferences, unfortunately.
Okay. All right, well, we just have to wait and see, I guess.
Certainly, but we will certainly be inquiring on your behalf and all of your compatriots as well.
Okay, sir. Now I'll either call you back on Monday morning, or I'll listen in to see if you do remember to ask.
I will. I believe you me. I will remember.
Okay. Well, you all have a great day.
Thanks.
You
sir. You too. Yeah. You too. We're going to take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly. Gosh,
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Headlines. With the latest headlines. Headlines. One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news. Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
All residents are asked to stay at home unless you have permission to work, have to go to a medical facility, pharmacy, bank, or supermarket. If you must go out, remember to stay at least 6 feet from other persons who are not members of your household. This reduces the risk of transmission, whether or not a person with coronavirus is showing symptoms. Everyone must wear face masks or other face coverings while taking public transportation, inside buildings, or other public spaces. For more information and to view the new regulations in full, go to www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. Time has gone so quickly. We have closed off the phone lines. Sorry, short notice on that. And to be talking about short notices and people not but sorry about the short notice there. One of our listeners, as we received some correspondence from them in relation to the scenario that we mentioned in relation to the two children and the person who was working. And they pointed out that they do agree with both your and my comments in relation to that a practical approach, common sense approach needs to be taken to it. But they also pointed out that in our Constitution and specifically in our Bill of Rights, the Section 17 of our Bill of Rights provides for protection of children. And very quickly, I'm going to read this, parts of it. In addition to the provisions of any part which affords protection to children, the legislature shall enact laws to provide every child and young person under the age of 18, referred to in the section, shall with such facilities as would aid their growth and development, to ensure that every child has the right to a name from birth, to family care or parental care, or to appropriate alternative care when removed from the family environment, to basic nutrition, shelter, basic health care services, and social services. And talk about protection from maltreatment, neglect, abuse, and degradation, to be protected from exploitative labor practices and other things as well. So they wanted to point out that there are protections in our Constitution, and the practical approach to this is take care of the needs of the child first, and whatever things need verification after that, go ahead and do that. But these protections are guaranteed in our Bill of Rights, and they need to be afforded. One of our other listeners wrote in and said that they have, I'll just read part of it. It says, I applied to the Needs Assessment Unit from March for a Caymanian who is 75 years old, who is not working. However, he is a landlord and has not gotten any rent from his tenants since the lockdown. He received a $150 food voucher 3 weeks ago. He is on 4 medications that he has to take and no insurance. They applied for Synico insurance for him, 2 from the Needs Assessment Unit, and they gave him a form to get a doctor at Health Services Authority to fill out the same day. I went to get it filled out, and they charged $75 CI for it. I was told by the lady at the desk that any of you thinks that it's free, but it is not. So again, there's a lot written here, but we know that the Needs Assessment Unit is under considerable amount of pressure. We had MLA and Parliamentary Secretary Mr. Austin Harris on the show on Monday, and he did talk about the Needs Assessment Unit, and he lauded them for the great work that they're doing, but they're under a certain amount of pressure. And I know, Mr. Brown, that you have spoken to me off air about it too, in terms of the number of people in the lines that are at the Needs Assessment Unit every day.
OC, I think the number of comments and calls and inputs about this this topic gives you a snapshot picture of what we're dealing with here in respect to the needs of the people of this country. And before I get into how severe I think it is, I want to say to those staff at the Needs Assessment Unit, I know you're working super, super, super hard. Trust me, I've been in the office. I've seen your frustration on your faces, how difficult it is, particularly in a pandemic. You were having difficult circumstances even before the pandemic. Your whole department was understaffed and they still didn't give you the employees. I understand what you're going through. But from outside, it seems as if because of the hierarchy at the top, and I'm going to say the minister, the councillor, you call him the secretary, the parliamentary secretary. Yeah, the constitution hasn't changed it, but we'll go with that. And the chief officer has not adequately equipped the Needs Assessment Unit to functionally give the opportunities to the people of this country. It's not the employees' fault that are currently there. There's no way in the world that the small amount of staff that is there at the Needs Assessment Unit can fulfill the current amount of requests that have been sent in. It's just unrealistic. And I'm sad to say this, but they're not meeting the mark. I have counted 127 people in the last 10 days have said to me, I've put in a request for assistance from over a month ago and haven't gotten a response. Or they do this. You send in a response for food, for help for food and rent, and they say, we're going to give you a food voucher without even saying, okay, we've decided we're not going to give you rent or even address the topic. And it's like they're trying to avoid this reality that there's loads and loads of people who are going to be on the street. How much longer can we expect the landlords to be patient? I think they've been patient quite a long time. This is 2 months going in now, and thankfully we don't see this, large crowds of people on the street. That means the landlords have been patient, and they can only be so much more patient. I have one constituent, I had to call the landlord and say, listen, please, I beg you, don't put the children out on the street. 2 young children, please don't. He said, Kenneth, I understand, but I don't know how much longer I can handle it, because I have financial obligations to the bank. Mm-hmm. You understand? So what do I do? Mm-hmm. The bank can come and foreclose in the case.
But in this particular case, unless he has someone that he's going to rent that apartment to, he still has his obligations to the bank. So unless he's putting them out to rent it to someone else, but if it's going to be, they're going to be put out to be for it to be left empty, it doesn't achieve anything. And what the person who shared with us about the Bill of Rights and stuff, they also point out to do otherwise in terms of these children would be against our country's values to deny children who are in need. That's against our values.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, but wholeheartedly with the person who talked about the Bill of Rights and what the rights to these people. Yeah. But the Bill of Rights are to the government. The government's obligation under our Constitution. That's where that lies. So yes, the landlords recognize that, okay, listen, I got bills to pay, right? And regardless of whether somebody can rent the place or not, they still got the bills to pay. So they're going to do everything they can to pressure those tenants to get money to pay them because they got bills to pay too. Yeah. So it's not about, well, boy, you can't use the excuse to say, well, it don't make no sense to come out because you don't have nobody else there. It's not about having somebody else there. It's about getting what is owed to you now.
I understand, but if they can't pay.
But I get that. But that current tenant is still owing. And we have a system of obligation to help people who are in need, and it's not functioning correctly.
Got you.
That's what I'm trying to get at. So you're right. It don't make no sense to put them on the road because nobody else might be able to rent it. But we still got to pay these bills. And I do not believe that, and it's not a fault of the current staff at the NAU. I think they're just not fully equipped enough to deal with the large amount of people in a fast enough period of time. Or the government may want to come out and say, well, they don't have the money, and they haven't said that. They've said they're going to help everybody they possibly can. So which one is it? And this is where I'm talking about the plan. I'm just seeing that my fuse is coming short in respect to giving enough leeway to the current administration with these other things. Okay. We're coming around the corner with the health part of things with this pandemic, and people are starting to feel a little bit more safer. I still think we should be more cautious, though. But as that starts to diminish and people feel a little bit more safer and want to get back to normal, these other pressures are going to come a reality. Wait till CUC say, okay, everybody, I need my money now. Not only are they going to be on the street, even if the landlord says, okay, I'm going to keep you in there, they're going to be sleeping in darkness. It's just I just don't see us putting enough focus on the needs assessment unit. And for those who may say, well, okay, these poor people, it's not only the poor now, it's the middle class as well. There's a lot of middle class people who were taking care of their families, never ever had to depend on government ever in their life, and forced now to do that. So there's a different class of people who are being affected. It's no longer you can hide away from the ghettos of Cayman. It's now creeping into your middle class, into your nice neighborhoods that need the help.
Yeah, I have a couple of announcements that I need to make. Mr. Miller has asked me to please announce that the following. That they have visited 962 houses in the North Side electoral district. To date, unfortunately, there were a few persons who were not at home, so we are placing some reusable cloth masks packed in Ziploc bags of with two masks. He's asking his constituents to please go by the clinic and collect your mask if you did not get one, or if you need additional masks as well on that. And this one is a little bit more closer to home. This has to do with my brother-in-law who passed away about 4 weeks ago. And just want to point out that there will be a viewing for Patrick McPhail, Edward Patrick McPhail, tomorrow evening from 5 to 6 at the Lions Center for viewing. 5 to 6 tomorrow evening. And there will be a funeral service live stream from on Churchill's Funeral Home's Facebook page on Friday at 3 p.m. So viewing for Pat McPhail on Thursday, 5 to 6 at the Lions Center. And of course, there are limits in terms of the funeral service, but it will be live streamed as well. Mr. Brian, any other comments that you need to
No,
make
that's
before
it.
you go?
For now, I want to encourage everybody to continue to think about the hygiene while we deal with this pandemic. It's still here. It's still real, even though we've been lucky by the grace of God, and I truly believe this is God looking down on us and keeping us safe, that most of these cases are asymptomatic. but we still have a responsibility to be safe. Don't start to loosen up now. Don't start to be relaxed. Still wash your hands every day. Still, when you're talking to your friends, say with respect, I'm sorry I can't be so close. Stay within your family unit. Protect your children. Protect your household. We're still here. We are not out of the woods yet. And the more cautious we are, obviously within limits of your lifestyle and trying to survive, I still think that we have to protect ourselves. And the government is 100% correct that we should not put our guard down. Now, that being said, OC, it was a pleasure to be on the show. Thank you for all those persons who participated by calling in or sending a message. Right. I want to say God bless you all, and you guys stay safe.
Right. And before I go, just want to create a little bit of balance here. This person has written and said, good morning, Mr. Connor, Mr. Bryan. I would like to commend our Needs Assessment Unit Department for taking so much of the heavy lifting by supporting our Caymanians as much as possible. In this extreme time of need, our government is doing more than their fair share, but can't be expected to meet every need for everyone. Your question regarding assistance for non-Caymanians is an interesting one and begs the question, why wouldn't such a case be immediately referred to the plethora of private sector organizations that are set up for this purpose? I just want to say that in this particular case, these are Caymanian children. These are Caymanian children, and even if they weren't Caymanian children, my position would still be the same. In relation to ensuring that
I'll
we
leave it
protect
like
the
this,
children.
OC. Those who feel it, know it.
Yes. Folks, I want to thank you all very much. Way past their time. I believe there's a press briefing today. And, of course, join me again on Friday. And then on Monday, we will have Minister Joe Hugh on with us as well. Take care. God bless.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates.
FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.